Hello and welcome to the podcast Who Remembers. In this episode, we're asking who remembers two-tone records.
The very first draw in Britain's new national lottery.
Sinclair believe their C5, Britain's first mass-produced electrical car,
for something called the internet.
Top shocking question, but none of the locals go paddling. Yeah, that's for me.
No bottomless gate! I can't speak!
You can't win anything with kids.
Pac-Man, one of the superstar video games in the business.
Didn't threaten to overrule him.
the fool we can't get fooled again.
Remember when it's the lowest form of conversation.
Hello. I don't know why I said it like that. I should have said it in a reggae accent, 'cause that's what we're going to be talking about. This is a request from the fantastic Real Bobby B, big supporter of the Mailday podcasts. So we thought he's asked us to do two-tone.
He's on the journey with us onto the new podcast. So cheers, Bobby B.
Yeah, he absolutely are. So, and this is something that, well, cards on the table, if you're new or whatever, we don't remember this happening because this was before we were born. But I did used to love 80s ska as a kid. My dad got a Madness CD from a petrol. You remember petrol coupons, in fact? Do you remember them? Were it Esso?
Yeah, because you mentioned previously, didn't we?
Yeah.
Only 24 toasters from Scunthorpe. Yeah, that was an Esso or Shell or something like that.
I know. I remember my dad having some like Esso thing. He didn't know what to buy, and he bought a Madness, not CD, sorry, a cassette, Madness cassette, and he played it. I absolutely loved it. Only about 10 or 11 at the time.
For any younger listeners, that's before you could just play whatever you wanted on your phone at any time. You had to buy cassettes that had songs on them to play in a cassette player, which
I don't understand cassettes as a thing, because they're a step down from vinyl. I presume they were easy
but you
to
can't
produce,
have a vinyl in your car, can you?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
and you couldn't carry it around like a Walkman was a revelation. Imagine carrying around a big, massive gramophone with you.
Yeah, you've proven. Yeah, this is why you're the businessman of the combo, and I'm not. But yeah, I really got into ska off the back of Madness. Really got into the specials and the beat, and then back into original ska. And around this time, my dad worked in a record store. I've still got loads of old ska singles. Actually, I might be self-indulgent and post them on the Twitter feed after this episode comes out. Actually, some two-tone records. I've actually got the original One Step Beyond by Prince Buster, which might be my most valuable record on Blue Beat Records, Liam. But so although we weren't there at the time, I in particular was really, really into ska as a kid.
You can still remember things after they happened if they were shown again.
You can still remember them.
I think this is a flip on the last episode where I remember Dad's Army and you didn't. So
yes,
my knowledge of ska music is effectively Ghost Town. That is what I know of ska. And
that's it, yeah.
And as we'll get to, actually, because you've sent me some stuff, I can only apologise to any ska fans. I've misjudged the situation.
Yeah. Well, it's like I say, one of my first loves. So two-tone records is what we're talking about, really. So that's what we're asked to do.
Yeah, which is for anyone who doesn't know. Sorry, because I wasn't sure what two-tone is. Is it a type of music? It's a record label, isn't it?
It is, but the term two-tone would also become a genre in its own right, which a lot of bands who weren't even on two-tone would get classed as two-tone. So Madness. Okay. So Madness did release one single on two-tone, but then they went to Stiff Records, but they were still labelled as a two-tone band for much of their career, or ska revival, or whatever it was. It were all sort of lumped into the same genre. And
sorry, just before you go into your memories of ska, and maybe this is where you're going to go, so apologies if I've stopped you doing what you was going to do, but do you know much of that? But how did ska become a thing? Do you know how we got to that?
Yeah, so I mean, two-tone itself was founded by Jerry Dammers in 1979. He was the keyboardist of the Specials. But two-tone sort of originated in Coventry in the late 70s. And there were loads of bands coming out of the Midlands who were playing ska music. And like what you're asking is like the background. It sort of came from the 60s where the UK opened up immigration to Jamaicans. But given the harsh treatment of black people in Britain at the time, many of these immigrants found themselves unable to find high-paying jobs. So they were put in sort of old council estates, which means, and a lot of landlords wouldn't even rent to black families, in fact. So these people grew up with working-class white youths, and it was the sort of, I don't know about the first time, but it was black culture and white culture sort of coming together to create this sound, and reggae became massive on the back of this. But two-tone really.
So this was the lead into reggae then. Reggae did reggae exist alongside?
No,
this,
reggae existed. Reggae were like absolutely huge in terms of. So reggae were like big in the. You got Desmond Decker and all these sort of people who were really big in getting number ones and things with Israelites and all that sort of stuff.
Of course,
Obviously, Bob Marley were before this. But the difference is,
of course.
The difference is with this like 1979. It came just after punk, and punk sort of there weren't that many punk records out when punk first started. So in the Roxy, which were in London, where like the sort of seen as the home of punk, Don Letts used to DJ, and he used to play reggae records at punk nights, and so the two became sort of interspersed. So it's not really surprised that.
Well, the punk scene was sort of, there was a big Midland scene in the punk music as well, wasn't there? So it probably overlapped in terms of the Midlands, surely.
Yeah. And it quickly spread. And the reason these ska acts came out rather than reggae acts is because, well, for ska's easier to play, but ska is sort of a mix. The ska that the Specials played is sort of a mix between punk and reggae because it's that fast. But it's like, but it's obviously more, and it's politically charged like punk was as well. So it all sort of came about really because a lot of these bands were multicultural bands as well, like Specials and stuff. We'll get on to Madness soon. They're one of the few ones that weren't actually like a multicultural band. So all these people grew up listening to reggae music, listening to punk music, formed these ska bands. And like I said, the mastermind behind it with the Specials, Jerry Dammers, he was the one who got the Specials together and started the record label up as well.
Interesting. No, genuinely as well. Like that, I do find it interesting. I'm imagining, the Brent gif where he puts his hands together with punk and reggae. Like, that's what I'm picturing.
Together. So the first single issue by Two Tone was Gangsters. I think I put that on my playlist for you, which immediately got into the top 10. Not
one of my favourites on the list, but
no.
I think some of it as well was the order in which I listened to the tracks, because so I thought something you're going to come to, well, I've already mentioned it, which is Ghost Town. In my head, ska kind of had to have that almost novelty record feel. I thought, and obviously I've today learned I'm very wrong in that, but I thought it had to be a bit jokey and a bit silly. And actually, the songs, the playlist you sent me today, it's actually brilliant. I'm some of the songs you've sent are really good. Like I've listened to them quite a few times.
I think what's interesting with it is because it's like quite fun music because it comes from ska, obviously, or Jamaican, like early ska. Prince Buster, for instance, Gangster. Prince Buster were massive in like getting all these influencing all these bands. So the Prince, the song by Madness, which was their first single, is about Prince Buster. And
which,
obviously,
again, that's good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and Gangsters, that's Al Capone, like a riff of Prince Buster song called Al Capone as well. But because it's all this upbeat music, but you got this like quite harsh political message, especially with Specials, like this harsh sort of political. But what's really interesting is, and I've watched a few documentaries about this, and like I say, I used to be really into all that. Well, I still am. I still listen to it, just not quite as much as I used to. It's weird how this sort of scene sort of started in the Midlands, really, but at the same time as the Specials were doing their thing, there were a band called Madness doing exactly the same thing, but completely independently from the Specials, playing exactly the same music, and it was just really odd. And Madness obviously got signed to Two Tone alongside bands The Beat. That you like Tears of a Clone.
Yeah, I thought that one really jumped out. I mean, obviously I know the original, but the fantastic version, and I don't know, it's just a slightly different sound, much more melodic, and there's even little bits of piano, and like it's just not at all what I was thinking. Like I was just thinking wacky and zany, and it's not. It's really, really good music.
Yeah, really, really good music. The Selector were another big one. That's, if people don't know, on my radio, and Too Much Pressure.
Which I've seen Jules Holland does that live.
With Boogie Woogie.
Yeah, which is really good.
Body Snatchers were another one. And what's really interesting with this is there were one episode of Top of the Pops in 1979 which featured 3 two-tone bands. That's mad. That's from a little independent record label. And 3 bands out of the 6 featured, or whatever it would have been on Top of the Pops. 3 of them.
And were they all sort
bands.
of quite high in the charts in that?
Yeah. So you'd had, to be honest, I don't know the songs, but I imagine that they'd have all been pretty much top 10. I think On My Radio got to top 10. You'd have had Gangsters, I would have thought. I don't know what songs, I don't really want to guess. Yeah. But the first number 1 for Two Tone was in 1980, which is You've Done Too Much, Much Too Young, which were like I've got that actually on vinyl.
Which is another one, I think, to be fair, which is a little bit more sort of that novelty feel to it. Yeah. It's a little bit bouncy. Like some of the pronunciation of words is incredible, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing as well, like, because you asked me, didn't you, off stage, behind the curtain? You said like, are some of these people actually Jamaican, like as the way they sing, and they are. You know, obviously, like I say, we're a multicultural band, so when you get It's the Same Old Show, that is a Jamaican man saying. That's not someone putting on a Jamaican accent like I've just done.
Yeah, that was you, though, weren't it? That's not a Jamaican man.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So it were incredible, like this sort of mix that you got, because before, like I say, I'm not an expert on music or anything, but so someone can correct me. I can't think of many other genres before this that included black and white people singing in the same band, singing a black style of music. Really, I suppose you could say rock.
Disco was after this, wasn't it? Was disco later than this?
Disco were like a little bit before this, but that were mostly like black artists, weren't it? Chic and the dudes. But another thing that you have to talk about with Two Tone is the fashion. So Jerry Dammers developed the what's called the Walt Jabsco logo. Have you seen this logo? It's on all the records. You know the guy in the it's like wearing a pork pie hat, white socks, black loafers.
What's it called?
Walt Jabsco. Yeah, you'll once you put it in, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, I think. And that's sort of the blueprint of the two-tone fashion, like a cool character. But also people wore Harrington jackets, braces. That were a massive thing, braces, and Doc Martin boots, and they're all connected with the scene as well. And everyone at the early stage of it had a skinhead as well, which were influenced by the Trojan skinheads of the 60s, which was named after the Trojan record label that distributed old reggae and ska stuff in the 60s.
They were sort of seen as quite, well, in my mind anyway as well, quite sort of tough characters, weren't they? Like, were it not necessarily trouble, like, but they were not to be messed around with, were they?
Well, it's interesting because, like I said, Jerry Dammers said that he wanted the Specials to be a skinhead band in what he says now is a naive way to attract racist skinheads to listen to their message, which is obviously all about the issue. Well, a lot of it was about the issues black people were facing at the time. And you can't really talk about Two-Tone without the politics of that era, because there were an unbelievable amount of racism. It was the peak of the National Front, you know, the white skinheads committing violence against minorities. But the National Front, or white skinheads, the racist white skinheads, would attend a lot of ska bands, gigs.
Irony at work again.
Yeah, thinking, these are one of us. They've all got skinheads. Especially Madness, because as I said, Madness were one of the few bands that didn't have a black member in the I'm going to say in the team.
But were Madness's themes that sort of multicultural, inclusive, let's all get together and have a bit of a dance? Was that Madness, or were Madness less political?
Less political, I'd say. There was a song called Embarrassment that they did, which is about it's a white person having a kid with a black person is the story, and it's about the mum saying, "I'm embarrassed of you." So they sort of dabbled in it, but they were not as.
But then they also did stuff about Our House, which was about a house, wasn't it?
Yeah, that were about a house, and Baggy Trousers, which were about baggy trousers.
Yeah.
I always find that really funny, by the way, baggy trousers, because obviously now baggy trousers it's sort of like a staple. Imagine saying, what's your new song called? Baggy Trousers. Think about that for a title.
Yes. I don't know the lyrics enough other than baggy trousers over and over again.
Well, it's about school, isn't it? So they're saying like at school you used to wear baggy trousers. It's just a ridiculous, anyway. So a lot of skinheads have come into these ska gigs and caused violence. Because like I say, they saw the bands had skinheads and missed the rest of it. But these were worse at Madness gigs than the others, which, like I say, I presume is because they didn't have any black members. They attracted a massive right-wing, sort of like proper far right-wing audience, Madness, in their early days. And there was one particular incident, because got it here, November 18th, 1979, where Madness was supported by an artist called Red Beans and Rice, who was black, or the lead singer was black, should I say. And his band were prevented from completing the performance due to racist chants. Suggs had to come on stage and show his displeasure, and he was just greeted by Nazi salutes in the audience.
Yeah.
Imagine Suggs coming out and having a go. I can't imagine Suggs having a go at anyone, to be honest.
No. I mean, obviously.
But
it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like I don't know, different time, but it's ridiculous that you're loving this sort of style of music, and
this black music.
You're not going to watch this guy do it.
It's absolutely. My dad used to, as you know, used to go to loads of Northern Soul nights. I say his youth, they were about our age, to be honest. But and he said like he couldn't believe they were there. Like he'd go and dance to these like black music and stuff, and black people on stage, and they'd be racist there. Like just like go look at him, and I don't know how you I don't know how you like sort of do it. I don't know how you.
Well, lack of intelligence, I suppose, is how you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just don't know. Ridiculous. But you can't talk about Two-Tone, as I say, without the political climate. And as you say, the most famous song by far in Two-Tone history is the one that you knew, which is Ghost Town, which spent 3 weeks at number one. And
I'm guessing, though, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I would imagine, from the few songs I've heard since, that I would imagine, like, a Specials fan probably wouldn't love that song.
I don't know. I mean, Jerry Dammers were really, really talented as a songwriter. He tried to move away from ska by the second album. He kept wanting to evolve, and that's why it sort of faded as quick as it did, really, because he didn't want to be stuck into that one scene. And I don't think Ghost Town sounds anything like a ska song, really.
Yeah, and that's probably where I've got it so wrong. I've associated that sound with a type of music that it isn't. But I mean, it's not that. By the way, it's not that I think that's a terrible song. I think it's fine, but it's just. It just strikes me as play at a kid's party on Halloween, right, rather than actual listen to it as a great piece of music.
This is a weird record to be a number one and to be as big as it is. I don't think it gets enough credit for being so different to probably any number one in history, I would think, because it's really creepy, as you said, like an Halloween thing, but it's fairly upbeat at the same time. But the lyrics are all about violence and racism and police harassment and stuff.
Got that really sort of like almost bluesy backing as well. Like,
yeah, but it's got that creepy organ. And obviously it's most famous for being on Father Ted when...
Yeah.
Brilliant scene where on Father Ted there's a DJ, but he's only got one record, and it's Ghost Town. And there's a bit where they goes, look, right now all raised for the Irish national anthem. But it's a fascinating song, this, because whether you like it or not, like you say, it's almost like a nursery rhyme, but the lyrics and all the ghostly sounds just make it mad. And it became a soundtrack to the 1981 riots that happened throughout UK. I may have said this before we were born, but I watched a documentary on this. It was really, really bad time. 3-day weeks had just come off, and Thatcher had just taken over and all that sort of stuff. Not sure if there's ever been a number one that summed up the mood of a nation as well as that. Maybe Three Lions.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm trying to think of another one. I can't actually. Yeah.
So if anyone can, a song that were number one that summed up the mood of a nation of the time. Vindaloo didn't get to number one, but we were all eating Vindaloos, weren't we?
Yeah. Did Mike Flowers get to number one? You quite like that, didn't you?
I don't know if that summed up. Wonderwall summed up the. I think
it summed up your sort of world at that time, though, didn't it?
You're my Wonderwall. So Ghost Town were number one, 1981, but almost immediately after that, Two-Tone effectively came to an end. The label missed out on signing UB40 and Dexys Midnight Runners, which would obviously been, kept on going in terms of chart success, which is weird because...
See, I wouldn't have grouped them together, but...
No, they're not ska. Neither of them are ska. No. UB40 obviously reggae. Dexys Midnight Runners soul. But they did have the chance to sign him. Maybe that's why they didn't sign him, to be fair. And the likes of Madness and The Beat got poached. They were like the two bigger bands on it by bigger record labels. 3 members of the Specials left, including Terry Hall, the lead singer, another one of Webding's lookalikes, Terry Hall. And they formed Funboy 3, who went on to have some massive hits. So I sent you a couple on that playlist, actually. They had one with Banana Armour, Ain't What You Do, It's the Way That You Do It. Not what you do, it's the thing that you do it. I don't know lyrics.
It's the way that you do it. That's what turns me on.
I thought that's what get results.
I thought it was that's what turns me on, but
that's what turns me on. Well, I might have to do Banana Rama because they've got some genuinely good songs. But their best song, I put it on the playlist for you, is "Our Lips Are Sealed," which is an unbelievable song.
Really good.
Really, really good song. But the Specials did carry on, and they did do a third album where, even though it was basically just a Jerry Dammers solo album with guests on it. But they did have a massive hit from it, which it might be the second most popular song, would you say, in Free Nelson Mandela?
Yeah, which I don't know if I've ever listened to that as a song. You know, I'm obviously aware of it. I know people sort of sing that chorus, and I don't know. Well, I listened to it today, and it almost reminded me a little bit of, you know, like Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others by the Smiths, where I think
Where you think it's a good lyric and a good music,
a
but
great melody.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not questioning the sort of politics of wanting to free Nelson Mandela. That's I don't know enough about that, but I'm just saying it feels like that could be a very, very different, much more remembered song if it wasn't so tied to politics.
Well, it's so dated now, isn't it? Because he's dead.
Yeah, he was freed and then he died.
Yeah, then he died. But this were a massive song at the time because obviously this was the time where, I mean, like you say, people obviously we're recording this. It's week after Glastonbury, probably a month after Glastonbury, or whatever. But obviously, all this talk about fucking get music out of politics and all this sort of stuff, or politics out of music. This would fucking all go. And then people have, you know, I actually did see a tweet where someone said, yeah, you didn't see bands like The Jam or The Specials singing about politics. Like they had a song called fucking Free Nelson Mandela. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't get more.
He doesn't sing about much else, does he? Who's the Cockney guy?
Weller.
Yeah, no.
Oh, Billy Bragg.
Yeah, it's the price I pay for loving you the way that
you're not into his politics songs, or you prefer his.
I like when he stays away from politics. Yeah.
I pay you. When I first lent you his album, you said, "Do you ever get past his voice?"
Yeah,
because he has obviously got that. He were a former. He were in army, weren't he? Him and Blunty boy, who teamed up to do a.
Oh, James Blunt.
James Blunt and Billy Bragg. Billy Bragg were in the army as well.
Yeah, obviously they didn't serve together, did they? Team
no,
up?
Obviously not. But they could team up and do a song about the army. This is the price I pay for being in the British Army and the army. That was Blunt.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Thank you. Pauline Black of the Selector said Two-Tone was just a 2-year blip between the end of the punk era and the start of the new romantics, but most people said that's just not doing it enough service because it wasn't. I mean, I say it were a phenomenon. When we said we were doing Two-Tone, as you said, and you said at the start, you didn't really know what it were. I've talked to Eggy today. I said we're doing Two-Tone, and he was like, don't know what that is. I imagine everyone knows the songs of Two-Tone. Two-Tone itself might not necessarily count as a genre, but with that ska revival thing. But I think it was.
Do you think it's remembered sort of so fondly by fans of it? Because I know people absolutely loved that era because it ended so quickly. Like it didn't sort of fizzle out in something else, did it?
No, I mean, like I say, it didn't fizzle out. It just sort of like bang, see you later, bang. Obviously, Madness carried on until like '86, but they moved massively away from ska. Like, it's Our House isn't a ska song, and House of Fun isn't a ska song. That's just a pop song.
What's their best song? It's like a ballad. They don't do many ballads.
You know, it's not about It Must Be Love, are you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
it's a cover song though, isn't it?
Soon as I wake up, I don't know.
Yeah, Labby Sifri. It must be love, love, love. It's quite quicker than the Madness.
Based on your version, I prefer Madness.
One Better Day is a brilliant Madness song, which is a ballad towards the end of their career. But other things, like I say, we weren't there, so we can't say, oh, I remember this when this happened, like we did with Blur and Oasis and stuff. But the fact that they're doing they still do documentaries. I think there's even a film about it.
The Specials still has a massive fan base. You have comments over here, people talking about the Specials or like.
Madness are still selling out arenas and stuff.
Yeah, but I think Madness, by staying around for so long, kind of have fizzled out. Whereas, I don't know, the Specials seem to me to be much more like, oh yeah, that was a moment. Like, do you remember that? Like, Madness just been around for ages.
It's interesting when Specials reformed, actually, and they didn't have Jerry Dammers in the band. And I saw him at this period, and I don't know, it did feel a bit, because he was the start, he started it, he started Two-Tone, he was a main songwriter, and they didn't, there's different versions, he said they never asked him to join and stuff, and now Terry Hall's passed away. That's pretty much it, for the Specials, and there's only the Beat is still going, I think Selector is still going, in fact, as well, but they were the biggest ones at the time.
It does strike me as well. There may well be a Specials cover band listening who want to correct me on this. There probably isn't, but they don't strike me as a band that you'd want to go and see a cover version of them.
No, possibly not. No, I mean, I remember We're going to do a working
The
men's.
Smiths. We've seen a good cover band of the Smiths.
What were they called? The Other Smiths.
The Other Smiths.
Yeah, the Other Smiths.
I've seen them twice, and I don't mind.
Our mate jumped on stage, didn't he? And like started hugging him like it was the actual Morrissey.
yeah, that's weird for a cover band, that, wasn't it? Yeah, but
yeah.
But I don't know. I just can't imagine that the people who love the Specials seem so keen on the Specials. I'm not sure they'd go and see a cover band of the Specials. Maybe completely wrong there.
Yeah. Like I say, Working Men's Clubs. I think we're going to do an episode on that soon. I remember loads because I used to go when I was really young, and they used to have loads of ska bands on then. You know, like just doing different ska hits, like Bad Manners and all that, Lip Up, Fatty Reggae, and all that sort of stuff. But like I say, this was like a 2-year period, really, where it was big. They didn't just do ska music, Tuto, I should say. They also produced singles by Elvis Costello. The great Elvis Costello. And do you know who the Higsons are?
No, I know of Charlie Higson.
Yeah, it's him.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Before Fast Show, he was like the lead singer of the Higsons, who were like a funk band. You can see, I think he got on Top of the Pops, in fact.
But for a long time now, I still thought you were just going to say, no, I'm only joking, there was something else.
No, no, that is true. The Higsons. I don't know why they were called the. Give me a minute. I'm going to do some live research in here. I don't know why they were called the Higsons. Like because were they all
probably because
called...
his second name's Higson, I would think.
Yeah, but there were 6 in the band.
Yeah, but there might be 2 brothers or something that started it, or it might just be that he was the lead singer and he's an egomaniac.
Yeah, yeah. But,
I think if we started a band, you'd be happy to call it the Hagensons.
I would actually. Yeah, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? The Hagensons. And before let me sort of wrap up in a way. I love.
Sorry, that don't make sense to people who've not followed us from Madeley either, by the way. So,
yeah,
your surname is not Hagenson; it's Haig. But because I think you look like Jim Davidson, you don't so much anymore, but you used to. I've always called you Jim Hagenson.
People now because I've lost my hair. People now I could be a skinhead actually, can't I?
You look like Sheeran now, but it don't make any sense, does it? Because it's Davidson and I call you Haginson. But I don't know. It's kind of made sense at the time.
Hagenson on the Run is what I got called, isn't it? After once I shaved my head, yeah. Davidson on the Run, even not Hagenson on the Run. That's me.
On the
Run. I love the. I mean, there's loads of names that sort of they call themselves or they get labelled at. You know, scar people, two-tones, and skinheads. I love Rude Boys. That's such an amazing title. Rude Boy subculture, like which originated from Jamaica. It's such a. I'd love to be referred to as a rude boy.
I've said that in anger at like a group of kids who shout something to me, and I said, "Shut the fuck up, you rude boys."
Rude boy. It's such a good. I don't know. Obviously, that came before Two-Tone Records.
I do like the term rude boy. Yeah,
rude boy. Obviously, one of the big
I
songs.
think I'd love to be called Rude Boy.
Rude Boy. Our mate Russ, I used to call him Rude Boy, but it never really took off. But yeah, obviously, Message to You, Rudy was that were another cover song. That were another big two-tone hit.
Yeah, I like that.
So
yeah.
I'm going to give you a thing here, Liam. What's your favourite Madness song then? It Must Be Love.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how they must have done hundreds of songs. They've been around for so long. I only know their hits. I've never owned a Madness album, so of the sort of hits they've done, I would say It Must Be Love, because I think that's a genuinely really good song. Now I didn't know it was a cover though. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't realise, to be honest, until like we say, we weren't here. I didn't realise just how big the Specials were when they first came out. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 7 sorry. Yeah, the first 7 singles got in the top 10.
Wow.
Which is incredible. So I don't know how many did you know, but like Message to You, Rat Race, Working for the Rat Race, you know you're wasting my time. Brilliant song. Rude Boys Out of Jail with B-side.
I quite like that version you've just done. Although it makes me think of Caught Up in the Rat Race, which I really don't like as a lyric.
Yeah. There's the B-side called Rude Boys Out of Jail. There's a brilliant song by a special called Arranged Marriage, which is really funny. But yeah, there's a song I want to mention before we go, which is a song by the Special, AKA, which is called The Boiler. I didn't put this on this playlist here, to be fair. It's one of the most horrific songs that I have ever heard, and I can't really do it justice. I don't. It's about a woman being raped, but it's by Rhoda, who who sort of sang on the final Special AKA album she released in Body Snatchers. One of the most, if I had to do 100 songs you must hear before you die, not in terms of like what's the best, listen to that song. It's incredibly well done, but it's proper haunting.
I can't believe that like you put it on your top 100 songs you must listen to, and you sent me a list of about 12 songs and you didn't put it on.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't put it on. I suppose I didn't want to give you the wrong impression because it's nothing. It's got like a ska background, but it's a really, 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 really dark song.
Okay,
and
I'll
everyone should listen to it. So thanks for that.
And just so for anyone wondering, who again, we used to do a podcast, Living with Maidley. There's still loads and loads of episodes out there. You can go and find more TV based. But we did used to play clips on that. If anyone's wondering or disappointed that we're not playing clips, we are now putting these videos. Well, these podcasts as a video onto YouTube.
And I read you can easily get taken down basically on
if you've got
Spotify these
other
days.
Stuff, you've got to be really careful. It makes the editing much easier. It makes it much easier to turn the episodes around. So yeah, apologies if you're missing the clips, and there is a reason for that.
But if you check out Twitter in particular and Blue Sky as well, and we're going to try and get different platforms, a lot of the things that we talk about, I'm going to try and upload. So people know what we're on about.
Come and join the community. Get on board.
Come and join the community. And the next episode we're doing, actually, I'm not going to announce what it is. Well, I would keep saying we're not going to announce this, but I think
you do. Yeah, you keep announcing it.
I don't know why I keep announcing it and then saying we're not going to announce it. But if you leave us a message, if you leave us a review on Apple or whatever, you leave your reviews. If you leave us a suggestion for an episode and we'll do it, and that's what we're doing next. Someone's left us a lovely review on Apple. I mean, they're all tongue-in-cheek, I'm not going to lie, but, we appreciate it. Oh, talk about the one-star thing,
by the way, so the Who Remembers thing, the irony in that is that we don't always remember things, so we kind of embrace the fact. I know.
They get it. But yeah, so if you leave us a review and lob whatever you want to hear as an episode. But I really like doing two-tone because, again, it's 40 minutes. You can't really cover everything in 40 minutes, but that's a general overview of a scene that I really, really like.
I think what we'll do as well is we'll try and get through all the suggestions, but some of them might become part of another episode. So a bit like we got asked to do Captain Birdseye.
And that became Ronald McDonald.
So it became something else. So we didn't do it at all. But
we did mention Birdseye. But yeah.
So you're not announcing it then? Are we keeping it quiet?
Fuck it, we'll say it, and then we'll just edit it out if we don't do it. But next up, I tell you what, I can't actually tell you who put this on, but I will for the next episode because I ain't got the name of the guy who asked. But on Apple Music, he asked for Sylvester Stallone versus Arnold Schwarzenegger. The beef. I didn't realise they were a beef, but there is a beef.
They were beef, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do that next, which seems like the next logical step on from two-tone. But thanks to Bobby B for that, because like I say, really, really.
Well, to be fair, that might have got me into some new music, which is always a good thing. I think Deadbat's going to be stopping and swearing at his phone or whatever he does when I don't know anything about music. It's furious for me but he's quite quiet on his science and nature. So if he wants to take me on that world, more than happy to do that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. By the way, I was that much into Madness at the time, by the way. I'm ashamed to admit that I bought Suggs' solo album, which is fucking so bad. It's unbelievable. I love Suggs, but his solo album is absolutely terrible. Is Suggs still going? Yeah, he came out as an alcoholic. That's not that's not like his claim to fame. That's not what he's just been up to. I saw it like about a couple of months ago. Came out as an alcoholic. Still with Madness. So they're still touring, aren't they? Madness. They're still releasing records and stuff to critically acclaimed records. I've seen them about 5 times, and I've had enough now. If you get what I mean. You know when you've seen a band that too many times, you're like, yeah, I've done it now. Yeah. I only got to see the specials once, unfortunately.
Okay, well, that was good. It was genuinely a bit of a musical education for me in a good way. So I will listen to more ska music, and I now know much more about it. So thank you for the education.
Oh, that's Rolf. I was trying to do like a ska beat to end, but it sounded more like Rolf Harris.
Rolf Harris, yeah. Can you guess what it is yet?
Yes. Anyway, that was ska. We'll see you for Schwarzenegger versus Stallone.
We'll be back.
Oh, very good, Liam.
Thank you for listening to Who Remembers. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us at whorememberspod@outlook.com.
If you are a right-wing fascist, you can find us on Twitter at Who Remembers Pod, or if you're a wokenaut, you can find us on Blue Sky at Who Remembers Pod. Once again, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time for more remembering.